Hi there, welcome friends, welcome to Homekeepers. How wonderful to be here and to know that you're out there, because I know that you are. A lot of you have been with us for a long time, for many years, and also there are those out there, this is your first time, so welcome to Homekeepers. I think that name is self-explanatory, I hope so. My name is Arthelene Rippy, and we are doing the best we can to just bring you some very interesting programs and to just let you know that the Lord would like to be involved in every single part of your life. And so that's why we deal with so many different subjects, because His Word said that the steps of a good man or woman are ordered by the Lord. And many times I pray that. So Lord, I want you to order my steps, because that's the way things are going to turn out according to His will. So glad you're out there, and we love hearing from you, so don't hesitate to email us or write to us and all, and let us know, what you want to see and what we can do for you from this end. I have an author with me today, and this lady, let me read you a couple things. She's Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Air Force Communication Medal, and many others. And she's traveled with the Air Force Tops in Blue, which is the entertainment group. And she has all of these accolades, and her husband calls her, what does he call her? Poo-poo? Boo-boo bear. Isn't that interesting? And she is vivacious and has served our country well in the Air Force, and she's now in the corporate world, and she has written a book. Look at the cover of this. Isn't this beautiful? Life Beyond Adversities, Members of a Military Chief. And you wonder what it is that causes a lovely young lady, I believe raised in a Christian home, to decide she wants to go into the military. And when you meet her, you'll kind of be glad that this type of person is in the military. So we're going to talk to her about her book and her life. And I'm going to join Stephanie with one of those kind of odd, fun recipes that have 2 ingredients. And we'll see how that turns out. Before I do, again, let me offer you this. This is the neatest book because it's done in short paragraphs. It's called 40 Days to Healthy Living, and it includes your mind, your spirit, your body, talks about food, talks about exercise, but it's really a little bit different take than some of the things we've offered. And I would like for you to have this, because if we're going to get well, I think that we're going to have to do it with the Lord. If you use your credit card, that's 1-800-229-0059. Or my address is Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758. And I've mentioned it on this show many times that when Jesus would approach somebody for a miracle, most of the time He would have them join in, like take up your bed and walk, take up your mat and walk, or stretch forth your hand. And so this book offers you ideas on your part, because if you do your part, you can count on the Lord for sure. So I hope you'll take advantage of this. Probably won't be offering it again. And so this is the time to do that. It's $15, at least. We'll send it out to you. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good, good.
This is one of those daunting, exhausting recipes that you put me through. No.
Well, the first time we had somebody that did 2-ingredient recipe was Gail Ross. And I can't remember for sure if it had 7-Up or something.
A 7-Up cake? Mm-hmm.
And I was amazed at how it tasted. Now, let me ask you this. This kind of thing never happened when I was young. You just had to put all the ingredients in yourself. Mm-hmm. I do remember when cake mixes were born. Mm-hmm. I wonder what their thought process is. Say, okay, we'll put these 2 things together and it'll come out.
A bored housewife one day, I don't know. There she says, look, I have this, let's see what happens.
Now you fixed this for an event.
I did, for the bridal shower that we had not long ago. This was one of the recipes I made, and everyone loved it. Super easy.
It really was
yeah,
good?
They loved it. Everyone's like, you have to give me that recipe. I'm like, are you ready? Angel cake, lemon pie filling.
Can you remember that? Okay, I want to impress you.
Yes, please do.
Well, since you have a fan club, and I don't.
Yes.
she always does her Christmas shopping all year and has it about, what, wrapped in June or July?
No, October. I'm done.
Okay. I have purchased a Christmas gift.
Oh, I'm impressed.
For my youngest great-grandchild. Well, I have 5 grandchildren. 3 of them are married, so that makes 8 in there. And then I have 8 great-grandchildren, plus my children. And
Shoo.
so got to get going.
Yes, yes.
So-
You know, and I don't do all of that. The only reason I do that is because I want to enjoy the holidays. I'm done by the end of October. I can enjoy Thanksgiving. I can enjoy Christmas. I'm not running around. I'm not fighting the crowds. I'm at peace.
Okay, I'm going to make a deal.
Okay, deal.
Maybe by the 15th of October. Gonna try.
Okay.
Not a covenant. It's just a deal. Just a
okay.
deal. Okay.
I'm going to see. I'm going to remember October 15th.
I know you will.
I'm going to bring it up.
All right, let's
Okay.
begin this very
Angel
difficult.
food, white angel food cake mix right here.
Sorry about that. It's a new can. I was just anxious to get out of there. Yes.
And then this is lemon pie filling. This is actually a 21-ounce can, and we need 15 ounces, so I'm just going to leave a little bit in here, and we'll use it. Maybe we'll put it on a lemon bar later or something.
Do you think our viewers are really capable of doing this? This is
Oh, gosh.
the question.
Yes. I think we're going to get many requests and then many accolades. How
Now,
about that?
we have a finished one here.
Yes. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to mix them.
So we're just going to sprinkle a little confectioners on this.
Yeah, start slow with this or you'll have an absolute mess.
Now this makes 3 ingredients.
Yes.
Just a little, Okay, and I will.
Stuff is flying. Okay, you cut. I think we should make the Oreo truffles that I made at the shower too, because
Okay.
everyone loves
Did you do
those.
anything that was? Now these are called lemon bars.
Yeah.
Well, they
It's
do.
like
They do kind of cut like bars.
Kinda, yeah. They look really delicious. And again, remember, I made everything and I didn't taste it, so I'll be interested to see how it tastes. I was afraid because once you start, I don't stop, so I didn't want to start tasting.
I'm going to take one out of the middle if it'll come up. Well, that's a nice consistency.
Yeah.
Two ingredients, people. This is
You
weird.
know what else you can do this with? Crushed pineapple. Just the angel food cake and a can of crushed pineapple. There's
they are
2
good.
recipes for the price of 1 for you.
This is your fork. I won't make you. Hey, they really are good. They're an interesting consistency.
Yeah. So this is a 9 by 13. Oh, you're gonna feed me?
That's good.
Yeah, that's real good.
And I would like this better because I'm into lemon more than pineapple.
Yes,
but
you are.
then you just smear that around and
Cook for 20 to 25 minutes at 350.
at 350.
That's it. And then powdered sugar on
And
the
if
top.
we have viewers like myself who maybe could not remember 2 ingredients, we will email it to you.
Yes.
Otherwise, you've got your angel food cake, the lemon pie filling, 350 for
20, 25 minutes. The edges will brown.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite good, really.
Yeah.
I would fix that. Great with a cup of tea. Okay, information's coming up on your screen. We'll be glad to get it out to you, but stay with me. I want you to meet Tanya. I have a feeling you're really going to like this lady.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, just write to the address on your screen, or you can email your request to arthelene@rippy.org.
Well, I'm anxious for you to meet Tanya Oldum, an author and all, and she says she has fixed those lemon bars yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
And do people ask you, you must have worked hard to fix
They
this
do.
delicious recipe?
Yes, ma'am, because I am a junk food junkie. I love sweets, so I'm forever finding something sweet, and the quicker, the better.
Well, you've had such an interesting life. If I remember from the book, you were raised in a Christian home, right?
Yes, ma'am. My mother's a missionary. My father's a deacon. He's been a deacon well over 50 years.
Do you still have your parents?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful.
They've been married 62 years.
That is wonderful.
Yes, ma'am. And they were high school sweethearts.
So you've had the kind of foundation that would serve you anywhere, really.
Yes, ma'am.
What was it that made you want to join the military?
Growing up, I had aspirations of becoming a fashion designer because I loved to sew. I started sewing around the 7th, 8th grade. And a friend invited me to MacDill Air Force Base. And at that base, I saw a show that was phenomenal. And I also watched this band and this young lady perform. And I asked the question, how can I do this? And they told me, you have to join the Air Force. You must be able to sing and dance, play an instrument, have other talents. So I thought, okay, I am going to join the Air Force. And to make a long story short, you know, I joined the Air Force, and less than 4 years later, I was a part of that tour, Air Force Tops in Blue, and I was able to travel the country as a singer and a dancer.
You know, many years ago, I was producing a live show here every day. It was an hour long. And I had as the singers, the Army, I don't know if it was some chorus, it might have been 16 people or so. And I'm a minister of music. I have been for years, although I don't do it now, but I know music very well. That's the most perfect choir I think I've ever heard in my life. One microphone out there. And they were so precise, it was almost like robots. But I was wondering, maybe you can answer, why do our military branches have music groups? What's the purpose?
It's needed because in so many locations, the only entertainment that a lot of our families and our service members see each year are your Airmen of Note, which is an Air Force group, or your singing sergeants, or your singing soldiers from the Army. But in isolated locations, I mean, it's just it, you know, the military families and not much else. So you need that entertainment there. Plus, the quality of life is very, very important in the Air Force in all the services. And we're ambassadors for the military. We want for an hour, hour and a half for that military member or that family member to forget about being so far away from home and to be able to enjoy and appreciate some very good entertainment. And that's what we try and provide.
Well, also they're used for public relations, I'm sure. Like that's what reeled you in.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Because I was so mesmerized by the amount of talent on that stage, their ability to sing and dance unreal. At record speeds, and you know, the music, the tempo was very, very fast. And I looked and I was just so amazed, how do they do that? But it's not easy because they participate against hundreds, sometimes thousands of other contestants, and possibly 19 or 20 people are called to that stage to be a part of that prestigious group. And
what's more thrilling than hearing like the Marine Band? Oh my word, you know, and they have the gorgeous uniforms on. It really makes your heart beat a little faster. You get a little tear in your eye. That patriotism rises up. But I was thinking, because I've directed so much, they spend hours practicing. That choir I had here was so perfect, it was almost like it wasn't real. So obviously they spend hours a day perfecting that. Yes, ma'am. When we were working on staging, and staging is the process where we're all singing and dancing and preparing for the show, putting the show together literally. We worked 18 hours per day some days a few hours more, until we perfected that show. Yeah, so it's a lot harder than you think. Yes, ma'am, it's much harder. When you hear people like that sing. But it's exhilarating. It is, because when you're on that stage, you're not tired. I mean, you're not weary. All you want to do is entertain, because it's in your blood. And you want those people to appreciate you as much as you appreciate them. When I'm on stage, it's like I'm a different character. It's like something, it's like a transformation. And I'm forever thanking God for blessing me with the gifts and talents to give back, because that's what we do. We're giving back
to the people.
And you've sung the Star Spangled Banner on many events, major games and so forth?
Yes, ma'am, for the Detroit Tigers for 5 years at their opening spring training games, for the San Antonio Spurs for several years, San Antonio Mission baseball team, Tampa Bay Lightning, Tampa Bay when they were the Devil Rays. So yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you know, that's another little bit of Americana, whether it's the Super Bowl or some other game, and the players are all out there, they're already on the field, and this people like you who could sing the Star Spangled Banner a cappella, oh my word, that's the roughest song probably ever written anyway.
And let me tell you the key. Take 4 good deep breaths and then get it out, shake it out, and then you're ready to go.
Well, I commend you, but when you see this and you hear the song sung simply, there's no big orchestration going on, and you see the football players and some of them are singing along, there's just something about it. So you're in a very, very exciting, to be able to do that is exciting. Now, moving away from that, you're a young girl and you joined the Air Force. What was it like the first night you were away from home and everything was different, everything was brand new?
I honestly don't remember because I was afraid of heights as a child. I did not like roller coasters or Ferris wheels.
So you joined the Air Force.
And I know it. How crazy, right? And I joined the Air Force not thinking that in order to move from point A to point B, I would have to travel in an airplane. It was the most frightening experience of my life. The stewardess, the flight attendant, she continually told me to fasten my seatbelt, and I wanted to tell her what to do with that seatbelt because I don't remember my first 3 days of basic training. I still, to this day, cannot remember.
Well, you survived it, but you also, did you have the controls for a while of flying a refueling aircraft? I can't figure that out anyway.
Yes, ma'am. It's a KC-135, an air refueling aircraft. I was a part of a special mission, first view special mission.
Well, you went a long way, baby, from being afraid to fasten your seatbelt.
I actually flew the airplane, and I only got us, I think it was 15 miles off course. But it was so exciting. And then to try and travel home, and I was so excited, even in that right foot, because I sped all the way down Highway 99 to tell Mom and Dad about my experience. I mean, this brain of mine, that sponge was overflowing, and I had to share that experience, and my mom and dad said the same thing.
Well, I think that's got to be a real highlight of anybody's life.
Someone that's afraid of heights. If you flew an airplane, I flew an airplane.
Well, you lived in Germany a while. Did you live in any other foreign country?
Not live, no ma'am. I traveled to a ton of foreign countries, but I lived in Germany for 4 years at Ramstein.
You obviously had a great experience in the military.
Yes,
because you were in there, what, 23 years?
24 years.
24 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you went in there, I think it was probably a lot different than it is now.
It's much different.
I think only in recent years have you heard or read that they really deal with the sexual harassment. When you went in, I kind of doubt if that was on anybody's radar. Did you have to deal with that?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was it, my word against his?
Yes, ma'am.
And nobody did anything about it?
My flight chief, I went to social actions. I opted not to talk to the commander, the first sergeant, and that was a mistake because they didn't want to hear from another source that there were problems in their unit. But I went to social actions and talked with the race relations NCO and explained to him what happened. And the flight chief did the same thing to other females, but none of them were willing to come forward. But after I finally said something, then another female came forward and said that he did the same thing to her. But yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think they're doing more about that now, from what I read in the newspaper.
They are doing a lot more. As a matter of fact, the colleges are joining up with the military agencies, and it's a partnership. And we're really focusing on sexual assault, sexual harassment. Yes, ma'am.
Looking back, though, it was a great experience, wasn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Overall, it was a beautiful experience because 24 years traveling the world, making a difference, making it to the Pentagon, the Puzzle Palace, and the E-ring, because people told me there are no blacks on the E-ring. Girl, you're good, but you're not that good. But to be able to work at that level and then to retire as a Chief Master Sergeant, you know, E9, as the Chief Enlisted Manager at the Air Force Personnel Center. Of course, I was responsible for the information management career field. But it was truly a blessing, and God directed my steps every point, every issue, every challenge. Times when I thought he wasn't there, he was always there carrying me. And the words that were cemented in my brain, I would wake up thinking about them. I would never leave thee nor forsake thee. And even to this day, I wake up and I still think about those words. I would never leave thee nor forsake thee. And it is so true.
And how old were you when you went in?
18 years old.
18. Yeah, I just try to put myself in that situation. You're going from a loving home, Christian
Yes,
home,
ma'am.
into a atmosphere that's not all Christian, I'm
Yes,
sure.
ma'am, it was not.
But I was just thinking of your testimony, how Christians, if you sense a calling, even as a woman, if you sense a calling to go in there, don't be afraid. The Lord will be with you, and that how Christians should so infiltrate the military. I'm reading things now that are troubling about taking God out of the military and one thing and another, and we've addressed them on this show. But that's where we need more salt, we need more light in there.
Yes,
that's the way it should work. Now, you have a daughter.
Yes, ma'am, Tasha.
And your husband's he's in the studio today.
Yes, ma'am.
As a mom, did she travel with you much?
Yes, ma'am, she did. As a matter of fact, when she was a small child, a few months old, it's when she traveled to Germany with us. And she traveled to Washington, D.C., San Antonio, Texas. She did a lot of traveling, you know, with my ex-husband and I. And she acclimated very well to that military environment. As a matter of fact, she's an E5 Staff Sergeant in the Air Force.
She's in the Air Force,
Yes,
too?
ma'am, at Randolph Air Force Base, and she's doing very, very well.
So it must have been a very positive experience for her to go into it.
At times, and then at times it wasn't, because if we received a move, a PCS move, which is a permanent change of station, and she
It's hard for
had
kids.
garnered all of these new friends, and it was time to uproot and move to a new location, she didn't like that too much.
But when you look back, you see how that has woven into the fabric of your life.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
It's very bad. Tell me about the Pentagon. I've been to Washington, and you know, you fly over it. It's enormous.
It is huge. I believe it's the single largest office structure in the world. But think of the Pentagon like a chuck wagon, a wagon wheel. With the spokes and the round circle, there are 5 rings, A, B, C, D, E rings, and then there are 10 corridors. In and out, in and out. And working at the Pentagon is very prestigious, but the E-ring, we refer to the E-ring of the Pentagon as General Land, because the Secretary of the Air Force was on the Pentagon E-ring and a lot of your general officers. And when I had the opportunity to obtain a position, I had to pinch myself several times and, God, you're good. But when I first heard about the position, it's like, okay, this is not happening. Thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus. And I didn't have the position. But once I was selected for the interview, I was still thanking God for the interview. And the colonel that selected me, he said, well, I will call you and let you know if I selected you for the position, because I have other people to interview. A young man saw me on the concourse. The concourse is like the shopping network at the Pentagon, where the bank, the drugstore, and other
You
agencies.
actually can find your way around.
Yes, ma'am, you really can. You get lost. I got lost quite a few times. And the young man told me he had already been selected for the job, and he wasn't sure why I applied. So I thought, it was only 2 days ago, and he's already telling me that he has the job. Well, I never received the phone call that the colonel promised to me, because he actually walked from the E-ring 4th floor to the 1st floor A-ring to let me know personally that I had the job.
And that's quite prestigious, I understand.
It's like being selected to attend an Ivy League school.
Oh, right.
It's where the best and brightest work.
If you've just joined us, I'm talking to a delightful lady. Her name is Tanya Oldum. She's written this beautiful book. I love the cover.
Thank you.
Life Beyond Adversities, Memoirs of a Military Chief. We've had the website up for quite some time. That's the way you can get this book. And it just chronicles her experience in the military, which is quite interesting because you're a gal and you joined when things were much different than they are now. I would say probably they've improved for women since you went in. And there are 24 years, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you're in the corporate world in Lakeland, Florida.
Yes, ma'am. I'm at Florida Southern College. It's a private Methodist affiliated institution. As a matter of fact, Florida Southern College has been voted the most beautiful campus 2 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
And it also houses the largest collection of Frank Lloyd Wright architecture. Yes, ma'am.
Now, what was that transition like from military back to the private world?
It was very easy for me. Some people, they're challenged with it, but I wasn't because I was already in the community as an entertainer. Plus, I did a lot of community work. What was difficult was the punctuality. In the military, you're taught to remain punctual, and you're disciplined, and you consider other people's times. In corporate America, it was a little different because—
More laid back?
Yes, ma'am, and then show up this time for an interview, and you're there, and then you're waiting an hour later. But people thought that because I was a singer, that corporate America laid out the red carpet for me. No, ma'am, I had to endure the interviews, the various examinations, and be able to understand that particular company and be the right fit for that company because they wouldn't take anybody.
Well, is it difficult having that? And I'm a punctual person.
Yes.
I think I drive my family nuts because I like to leave early to get there. So, you know,
Me too.
anything that might slow you down. So all the years you've been with this punctuality and all, does it drive you a little bit nutty to, you know, just work with people that are too laid back?
Yes, ma'am, but I've asked God to give me the patience.
Or join them, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Join
It's
them.
very difficult to join them because when it's embedded in you, and I mean,
it might be your basic nature anyway.
yes, ma'am, it's so different. But the one thing I will say is in the Air Force, the Chief Master Sergeant, they're the top 1%. Quite a few people told me what I couldn't do, what I wouldn't achieve. But with God, all things
Amen.
are possible.
You are a tonic girl.
Yes,
you really
ma'am.
are.
With
We're
God, all things are possible.
Yeah, we're all out of time, but oh man, what a positive note to end up on. God might be calling some of you young gals to the military. You never know. Just follow him wherever he leads and join me next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.